Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame and this is Tyler Perry's Sistas. Y'all, so the episode came on and it left off where, it started where it left off last time. And Danny was at the shop and he was like, Danny, what are you doing here? He acting all flustered like he in trouble. And I'm like, y'all are not together. What is going on here? I don't understand you being flustered because the heifer showed up. And so she was like, hey, sugar, what's going on here? Like, I'm just like, she said sugar about 50 times. I was like, why? And so found out they was going out on a date and all this other stuff. And he was like, oh, really? Oh, okay. So she was like, oh, nothing's going on. I just need to borrow him for a minute, sugar. And then she asked Karen if she could use her office or whatever. They went to the back and talked to her. So he's really trying to figure out what is going on here. I'm trying to understand why he's so stupid that he don't remember Karen. Like, did they only meet all of 0.2 seconds once before or something? Like, I kind of would have been like, Karen. Like, I really thought that he would, well, he be having the blonde moments like a whole lot sometimes. And like, a lot of stuff just go over his head. And it's not really even necessarily a blonde moment for him. Like, he just, I don't want to say innocent, but that's the best thing that I can think to come up with. He just be coming off so innocent and just so green, and I don't know. Anyway, this heifer had to go over and pay for her own stuff because y'all know Preston was finna pay for it. So she politely went on over there and paid for her stuff. It was what it was. So they done went in the office and they talking. And so she was like, oh, this is what we're doing now. Like, oh, you're on a date. And so what is going on here? And he was like, yeah, I'm going on a date with her. And so again, he's confused. This heifer talking about, I don't understand. I thought we were working things out. I'm like, ma'am, did I see something different? Because I could have swore they had a whole situation to occur at her place. He told her, never call me again. Like, she said it all the way off. You made it seem like he was just this terrible person. Why are you thinking that you're going to work something out when you just told this man that you feel like the slave Atlantic slave trade was going on? The Atlantic slave trade, y'all, I don't even know. I'm just so over it. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, she made it seem like her whole experience dealing with him was so terrible. Yes, I understand about his brothers. I 100% understand that. That is somewhat warranted. Well, it's very warranted. I get that. But this man got beat down for you. Like, it's like he has proven over and over again how much he lived for you. But would you want to sit up here and act like you don't know what's going on? So he's still going to go out on a date with this heifer. The heifer is a veterinarian. And she actually likes talking about cows all day because she tried to read. It was like, don't no black woman want to talk about cows all day? And he was like, well, actually, she does because she's a veterinarian. I was like, child. So anyway, he left out immediately. In 0.2 seconds, this heifer done called Fuego. She was like, where are you? He was like, I'm in Atlanta. Like, he's at a bar somewhere drinking. And so she was like, well, let me know if you want to come through. And so he looking like, okay. And so she was like, all right, bye. So he was like, dang, Danny. Like, girl, you be doing too much. Like, he even tired. But it's like he like her. So it's like, I guess he don't mind the tug of war. I wouldn't have time for the foolishness. So Zach has arrived at Fatima's place. She been waiting on him. And so she was like, okay, I made dinner. And so he was like, wait a minute. We're not finna skip over what just happened. So what is going on? Like, are you really like that in real life? So she was like, yeah, like, what you mean? Like, I don't understand. And like, she was just like, look, I have these people. Do you think I would sit up there and work around people who have been released from jail and spend so much time around them to where I wouldn't trust them? I trust them. You know what I'm saying? Because these were guys who had gotten out. I guess they were some chain breakers guys or something. And they set it off real quick. Like, they really are on her team. And so he told myself, I'm not scared of them. I think I'm more scared of you than them. But yeah, you kind of scare me sometimes. And so he like, yeah, forget all that. I ain't got time for Hayden because Hayden is set up and put his hands on you. I still want to put hands on him for putting hands on you. And so she was like, that was a part of the plan though. He was like, but I didn't like that though. Like, I wasn't here for that. I didn't like that. And I'm just like, child, like, what is going on? It's a mess. But yeah, he was just like, I'm here for it. It is what it is. Like, she was just like, I just can't believe that you were willing to risk your freedom for me. The fact that this man was going to really have a third strike had he actually taken the rap for her, and they just pretty much got together. You really love this heifer. You done went all the way off. You've gone to jail for ignorant stuff the first 2 times, but you done went all the way off with this. Like, you was finna go down for murder. Like, she was gonna have to come in and say hey through a glass for however long you was gonna be in there, which was probably gonna be forever, because you with Georgia. Like, no. So she said that turned her on, the fact that he did that, and it was so sexy and it was so nice and all this other stuff. Child, they here for each other and I'm here for them. Like, they finna get it in. I'm here for all that. So then Danny, after she done left Karen's salon, she went over to Sabrina's house and was like, oh, you look nice. And she was like, thank you. You look nice too. Now, I think Danny actually looked nice. I like shoes like what she has on, but I feel like you have to have a slender, narrow foot in order to pull it off. I got wide feet. It ain't gonna never work for me. I've always liked that type of shoe. So, and that dress, it was really cute on her. So anyway, they talking, and so she ended up telling Sabrina everything that happened. And so she thought about it, because Karen told her that she thinks that Zach introduced Preston and that woman, because when he got out of prison, jail, or wherever he was at, a favor was done on her behalf and all of this. And I'm like, where does he have time for any of this? Like, in the way that they were talking, you would make it seem like Zach was just at her house like last weekend, and then he hit for all this money. And I'm like, I know that this show goes by very slow. I know that it goes by very slowly, but ain't no way it's been that little bit amount of time that has passed since Zach was working at the airport and actually still needed a place to stay. Because even when he was working at the airport, before he ended up like quitting, he had already secured his own place to stay. Like, he had been staying in the chain breaker's house that he had been building on. Then before that, like, he was staying in, like, after that, he was staying in a hotel. Like, what is we talking about? And now he be at the house and in between his house and Fatima's house. So I'm like, why are you making it seem like he at your house? Anyway, it is what it is. But she was just like, look, heifer, I came over here for the drinks and the weed. And she was like, how you ain't got no lighter? Like, what is going on? You got all this cheap stuff. I'm finna go home. She was like, heifer, you have all the cheap stuff too? She was like, I do, but I have the good stuff when I steal it from my job. I'm like, girl. And she was like, you gonna go to jail? I'm like, yeah, you gonna go to jail, heifer. She was like, look, I got a date. I'm going on a date with Calvin. And so she feels like he's cheap, not knowing that it's a whole setup going on. But it is what it is. So she was like, nah, ain't no lockup. I'm finna go. And you lock the door. Bye. So anyway, Karen has appeared at Andy's house. Like she said, she was going to come by. And so she was like, yeah, this is a crazy situation. And so she's trying to offer Karen something to drink, something to smoke. And she is like turning it down. So she was like, okay, what is going on? She was just like, I'm just being sober right now. And so I'm like, why are you acting so dumb? Anyway, eventually she was like, oh, it's the pastor. The pastor got you acting like this, huh? So she was like, I ain't talked to him in a while, actually. So no, it ain't him. And so she was like, oh, what's going on? She was like, no, we just taking a little break. Like, he good. I do miss him, though. And he was like, well, you should call him. And so she was like, I'm not calling him. I'm not going to call him. We just taking some time apart. It is what it is. So after all was said and done, you know, she was like, well, are they happy or whatever? Talking about Zach and Fatima, because their situation came up because she was talking about Gary. And she was just like, I just don't want you to end up like me and Zach. You know what I'm saying? You saying one thing, but then you end up doing the same thing over and over again. Like, I want you to be all the way over it. Don't say you're over it and then you're not. I really want you to be all the way over it. And I'm like, Karen, you really don't have a choice to be over it, because Zach said that he's with Fatima. Like, you ain't got no choice but to be over it. But it is what it is. And so this helper told me, well, you ain't got to worry about it. I'm not going to get back with him because he bought me a car. Girl, bye. Yeah, right. It is what it is. Like, apparently you could be bought. So they talking, and so she was like, well, I'm thinking of taking it to his job tomorrow. And so she was like, I've never been in that type of car before. You think we should drive it? You know, you think we can drive it or whatever? So they finna go out joyriding a little bit. Well, meanwhile, at Maurice's house, Calvin is still getting chewed out by Maurice and Laz. And then Sabrina comes, and Calvin tells us, oh, look, it's Sabrina. I'm like, what? Sir, everybody knows this is a setup. They knew it was a setup before she got there. Like, what is we talking about? They talking about they got reservations, they can't stay, and all this other stuff. Maurice was like, heifer, you know me. Why would you sit up here and do this? You know the type of men I like, right? And the old boy was like, you know what type of men I like. And they over here drinking. They being buddy a little bit. Like, it is hilarious. Like, they was reading Calvin, and I was all the way here for it because it's like you knew you was wrong. He even asked him about that kiss because I was like, what was that? He was like, did you kiss him on the mouth? He was like, yeah, girl, this is just something we always done. It was just normal to us. We've always done that. I was like, child. So anyway, while they driving, while Andy and Karen are in the car, they get stopped by the police. And so I'm like, why? The police officer get out to me, you need to step out of the car. Of course, her being the lawyer that she is, she wants to know why they want her to like, she was like, okay, I wasn't speeding, so what's going on? Karen to put her purse up under the car, up under the seat because she got a gun in it. And y'all, come to find out, this fool Gary done hired these random people because other police officers got out. They are all impersonating police officers. They have a charger. I don't know if he sat up there and put stuff on the car and created this scenario and made it seem like it was a traffic stop and all of that. Child. And they was singing some song to her. Andy all into the song and then got all bubbly and started glowing. And I was like, I told y'all, some people gotta die to learn. And apparently Andy she gotta die. She already came near death. Near death was not good enough for her. Death is the best thing for her, apparently. Because I'm just like, why are you stupid? This man literally squoze. Y'all know people say squoze. That is so hilarious. I had to say it, y'all. That man squeezed you so hard and so tight that you blacked out. And everybody thought you were dead, heifer. He bruised your ribs and some more. Like, I can't. So anyway, Zach and Fatima had a whole moment after they had, had sex and all this other good stuff. And they were talking. And Fatima does a lot like what I do. I think that's why I live for her. She does a lot like what I do. Like, if somebody's talking to me who really, really is into me, and I can tell that they are into me and they care about me or whatever, and we're trying to have a serious moment, and they want me to let my walls down, I'll try to talk to them, and then, like, I'll just start looking away, and I'll just start doing other stuff. Like, I hear you, but So she looking at him like, I'm explaining to you why I won't look at you. Like, I have a hard time looking you in your eyes, because he had to tell her to look in my eyes. So she was like, I don't look in your eyes. It's hard for me to look in your eyes because if I look in your eyes, I'm going to fall deeper for you. And he was like, that's what I want. So it's like, she done told him I done fell for you. You got me, all of this. And he over here talking about, all right, well, she talking about she done and they got to be done because she got to go to sleep and she tired. Well, he was like, all right, well, I'm finna go play basketball. So she trying to figure out where you going at 10 o'clock at night. Like, are you really going to go play basketball? Like, where? This ain't making sense. Like, Spidey senses are going off. And so he was like, look, I know you got to do your verifications. I understand. This helped for the setup himself. Was like, oh, well, I'm going to go with you. And I'm like, girl, no. And he was like, nah, like, you're going to have to learn how to trust me. And then she just got to the point, she done locked her legs around this man. I was like, ma'am, it had just got to the point where he was just like, look, you was just running away from me 10 minutes ago. Nah, You over here talking about, oh, now you fully awake and you want to go with me. Or now, if you're not going to go with me, you're going to lock me in with your legs like that. So it is what it is. But yeah, like I love the fact that he keeps being so observant of the fact that when she gets very, very fearful and, you know, all of that, of talking with him and becoming more and more comfortable with him, that she is falling for him. Like, people don't understand, like, people who love hard and you've been through some stuff, you don't want to sit up there and continuously let your guard down, let your walls down, and give yourself to this person, and then they try you. And usually they try you worse than the person who came before them. So it's like, it becomes harder and harder for people to trust. So it is what it is. She's going to have to learn how to trust him, and it is what it is. So he finna leave. And he wanted to know where his shoes were and all this other stuff. She done said his shoes and socks outside. She said that his stuff stank and he wasn't going to stink up her house. I was like, oh my. Well, Calvin and Sabrina are at dinner. And they're talking. While they're in the middle of talking, this man approaches Sabrina and was like, hey. And she tried to figure out who he is. He used to come in or something. He used to either work at another branch or he used to come into another branch and saw her all the time. And so it finally clicked in her mind. She was like, oh, hey, how you doing? And so he was like, yeah, my friend convinced me to come over here and talk to you. This man proceeded to reach over on the table and pick up her phone and was like, well, yeah, I'm just going to give you my number. I was like, don't touch my phone. Who are you? No. Like, you done went off. You done went off. So Calvin is just sitting there. And so she was like, yeah, I'm here with him. So he over here talking about we're on a date, you know, we're on a date. And he was like, oh, okay. You know, my friend was convinced that you were, oh, well, never mind. Child, everybody think that man is gay. Everybody think Calvin gay. Everybody tired. He apologized, but his friend did tell him that he thought he should go over there. And he initially thought that, you know, they were on a date or whatever. He was like, no, he gay. Child, after it was over with, Calvin was like, no, that was disrespectful. I ain't here for it, whatever. It went off. And so, like, even the tone he was using towards Sabrina wasn't here for it. And was like, you know what, I'm finna leave. And so I'm like, okay, did y'all come together or no? Like, what is going on? Like, you talking about you finna leave, you done got mad, and she already trying to tell you, like, don't get hype in here, like, you doing too much. Man, he done ran up on this man, he done punched this man, because he told him, you say it again. And so, Calvin said what he said F that man and all this other stuff. So then he hemmed the man up, he done punched the man, they started fighting and everything. I'm like, child, this is too much. How you set it off in this moment? But when Jabari, or what was y'all, what is his name? Jacoby. Jabari, Jumanji, Jungle Jim, Jimboree. When whatever I said that man that Jacoby rolled up, you didn't have this same energy. And he really actually like works with her every day, see her, done rolled up several times. You didn't have that same energy. You got knocked out. Chopley. Anyway, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in to the recap review for Tyler Perry's Sistas. Please subscribe to my channel if you have not done so. Thumbs up this video, and let's talk about it down in the comment section. Bye, y'all.